sound so happy, but I have AC. It's 73 degrees in here, when a few weeks ago it was a 92 degrees. So shout out to Cook's Cooling, Comfort Cooling. I don't remember their name, but they did an awesome job. I still need to write the review because my dad was like, I'll tell you what to say, and he hasn't done that yet. So I will be writing a review, don't worry. But they did a fantastic job, and it's nice and cool. I can have the blinds open. I alternate because this is the hottest part of the day, so I don't, and the sun's like right there. So currently those blinds are open and curtains are open, and these will be open tomorrow. Like, there's a system for everything in my life. But I want to go through the weekly TBR. We're reading a book that's not on my CBR because it was a new release that I didn't know came out yet. And then I saw that people on Instagram were like, Irene Sola has a new book, and I was like, what? So I ordered it right away and I'm reading it right now. But our weekly quote, I think this is so ironic coming from this person. So it's coming from she who should not be named, J.K. Rowling. And it is our choices that show what we truly are far more than our abilities. Yeah, JK, yeah. So I thought that was just kind of ironic that she would have a quote like that. Very ironic. Okay, so the book that I'm starting my day with, I'm reading when I'm working out, and yes, I did work out today. That's probably why I'm kind of peppy, because I hadn't worked out for a while because it was so hot and I would have nowhere to cool down. But this is Appalachian Reckoning, a region response to Hillbilly Elegy, edited by Anthony Harkins and Meredith McCarroll. Next, we have that Irene Sola book that I was talking about, which is kind of our main focus, but as you can see, it's very short. I've read 27 pages, so I don't know how much, because I only could read it for one sit down yesterday, so I don't know how much I will typically read in a day. But this is I Gave You Eyes and You Look Towards Darkness by Irene Sola, translated by Marafe Leatham. I've read everything she's had that's been translated into English, which is When I See Mountains Dance, which is from Grey Wolf Press this fall. But then I read Beast, which is a poetry collection that I think I got on eBay, or I got it secondhand. That one was very hard to get my hands on, but I have loved everything. I don't think I've ever given her a 5-star, but I just really love her ideas and just the folktale like esque vibe to it. This is a horror, this one, and I'm gonna read y'all the back. Dawn is breaking over the Hillaries? I don't remember how you say that. A rugged mountain range in Catalonia, frequented by wolf hunters, brigands, deserters, ghosts, and demons. In an old farmhouse called Masclavo, an impossibly old woman lies on her deathbed. Family and caretakers drift in and out. Meanwhile, all the women who have lived and died in that house are waiting for her to join them. They are preparing to throw her a party. It all begins with Joanna, Masclavel's matriarch, who once longed for a husband so powerfully that she summoned the devil to fulfill her wish, only to try to double-cross him, heedless of any consequences. As day turns to night, 400 years worth of memories unspool, and the house reverberates with raucous laughter, pungent feast, and piercing cries of pleasure and sorrow. I Gave You Eyes and You Look Towards Darkness is an audacious and entrancing novel in which the line between the dead and the living, past and present, story and history are blurred. And oh my gosh, that's a perfect description. In it, Irene Sola draws on oral tradition as well as art, literature, and fairy tales to tell a completely new kind of story. And yes, I think that description is perfect. Then we have my mood read, which is King Nix by Kirsten Bacchus. And I've decided for my mood reads, I'm going to do them all as audiobooks, because y'all know in last week's sit-down video where I was going over my reading stats, I would like the audio stat to get up to a quarter of what I'm reading. It's currently about like 20%. So I was like, maybe I do every mood read, because I always reading a book physically and I'm always doing an ebook. So I was like, maybe I should always be doing an audiobook as well, which audiobook is my favorite formatting. But this is King Nix, and so far I did not really read the description because I just wanted to go in and see what I think. But it says a haunting mystery about lost girls and the woman driven to find them. So this really, we have our main character, what even is her name? Anna, because it's first person perspective. We have her in the prologue in the 1930s going through some stuff, like, you know, physically going through stuff, looking at stuff. she's like, I'm finally going to tell my story, because her husband was an author and he was really like a conspiracy theorist, like aliens and all that kind of thing. Not political conspiracy, but you know, aliens, monsters, ghosts, that kind of thing. And so he had a lot of crackpot theories. Because that time period she's been along with, and she's like, that's nice, honey. And if she didn't agree with something, she didn't say it out loud, because she didn't want to upset him, because he give away practically everything to be in this relationship with her. And he gets invited by this very rich man to go to this house, which is the house right there, to go to this island so he can focus on his writing and get the book published. And this man is like his donor, his supporter. And they find out that there is like a school at the house for women who are going to be maids and, you know, work in people's houses. But turns out some of those women are disappearing. And that's what has happened, because it goes back to when she's going through this stuff in 1933. It jumps back to 1918, and she's telling her story about when they go to that island and what they experience there. And as I said, the missing women. So that's King Nick's. Next, my ebook is Edge of Eternity by Ken Follett, book 3 of the Century Trilogy. We just had... we've gone from JFK being president to LBJ being president. And I did not know a lot about Lyndon, first naming him. No, President Johnson. I did not know a lot about him. So I have learned quite a bit. But it looks like we're going back to our British characters in our next chapter. But just to give y'all an understanding of what is happening in this book, we have transitioned from the Kennedy era to the LBJ era of presidents. And that is the weekly TBR. I'm gonna go have a snack. I got some grapes at the grocery store. I think it was on Saturday or something. I don't remember what day it was really. Was it Saturday? I think it was Saturday. So I'm gonna go have some grapes because I've been wanting grapes, and it's gonna be a good time having a nice healthy snack rather than the sweet snacks that are not healthy that I've been having. But it's okay, you can treat yourself, I swear. Okay guys, I posted the TikTok of when I went to Goodwill in Long's last month. It might have been 2 months ago at this point, I don't know, but no, it was last month. So I posted that TikTok, and when I had gone to Goodwill, I saw 2 history books that were about, one was about Ulysses S. Grant, the other was about Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. Both of those books happen to be by media personalities who are Fox News presenters. So I was like, in the video, I was like, I don't want them because they're by a Fox News person. You know, people are gonna get offended by that. Somebody got offended in the comments, and for me personally, like, I do not understand, like, why do you care what book I decide to buy or not buy, which book I decide to read or not read? Because in the long scheme of things, does that really impact you whatsoever? No, it doesn't. But yeah, they were calling me a moron, saying I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, and I was like, no. If I'm reading about a historical topic that happened 150 years ago, I want to read about it from somebody who studies that, who is a professor of that, is a historian. I don't want to read from a modern day TV personality writing about those things where there could potentially be a modern day political bias put into the book. Now, I think every book is political, reading every single book is political, but when I'm reading a history book, I just want the facts for these kind of history books as well, because they are a biography of Ulysses S. Grant and the other, as I said, Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. I do not want a political agenda to be put in it, or a biased. And again, Fox News has said themselves on trial that the channel is for entertainment purposes and not news. So I don't want my history from something like that. I'm sorry, but that's just my personal preference for reading. If you want to read those books, that's great, fantastic, have at it, because I gave those books to my dad once I found out that they weren't by somebody who's actively studying, and, you know, that's their passion, their research, you know, whatever. So, I'm sorry if you are offended by that, but that's just not the kind of book that I want to read personally. I don't want to read from somebody like that who... And I honestly doubt that these people actually wrote those books, if I'm being honest with y'all. But I could be wrong. So, I mean, good on them if they have that tight of a schedule being on TV every day and can write, you know, big, thick history books. Good on them. But yeah, I wanted to just make note of that comment of me being called a moron. I honestly think it's kind of funny that people get that offended over me saying I don't want to read a book by a Fox News person, because in the long scheme of things, that has no real impact on the world. It doesn't, just because I didn't want to read a book. So I feel like there was something else I wanted to say about that, but I can't think of what. Oh yeah, it was when people, you know, maybe they don't agree with my book review and, you know, give me a hate comment on a book review, or as I said, call me a moron. I always just go in, kill the person with kindness, because they're obviously going through something rough in their life where they're feeling the need to comment on my book review or comment on a video of me shopping at Goodwill, that they're probably struggling and having a hard time. So I'm not gonna go call that guy a moron back. I'm gonna be like, thanks for your input on this topic and have a good day. So like, I am always this nice, and it always, like my grandma told me, when you like are killing somebody with kindness, it often makes the other person kind of feel bad that they went off on you. And there's no name calling and all that stuff. It doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't. The guy in office might do that, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it doesn't get you anywhere. And just be nice to people, because again, like those commenters, I don't know what they're going through, so I'm just gonna be nice to them. And yeah, so we're gonna go into my notes on I Gave You Eyes and You Look Towards Darkness by Irene Sola. I got you. I haven't put into my phone, I don't even know where my phone is, to be honest with you. Oh, there it is. I haven't put into the phone yet what page I got to, but I got to page 73, so I read 40 something pages, I think, and we're going to go through my thoughts now. So the first one, we have this paragraph really comparing the house to the human body. I'm going to just read you a quote from it, because I'm not going to read all that. That's something that I will talk about in my review, the writing stuff. But the kitchen window was deep and narrow like an ear canal. An oblique, early bluish light slipped through it, muting shapes and colors. The peeling walls and the chimney hood were white, the damp patches were gray, the counter was yellow, the sink joints were black. So as you can see, like, they're just comparing the house to a body, and it made me think, so it's like we live inside a house, but us, who we are, our soul, what makes us who we are, is inside our body. Isn't that so cool? Like, we are physically in our house, but whatever this is inside us that makes us who we are, it's a person, our personality and everything, our life is inside this body. This is our home. There is, when I was in school, one of my teachers only said that the body is our temple, and yeah, I think that it goes hand in hand with that. But there is something with this writing style that it could be the translation, but there are just some like big words that I don't even know how to pronounce, because I have been reading this out loud for the most part, just for this lyrical writing style, that as you can see, it is a lot to take in, and usually I complain about that. But if you can do all that in 160 pages, which is how long this book is, that is fine. But if you're doing that for 500 pages, I'm gonna want to pass out. You're gonna drain me, where I'm just gonna be like, oh. But yeah, so there are some big words, like, this might be bounteous. The cherries were hot, sweet, and bounteous, B-O-U-N-T-E-O-U-S. So there are a lot of big words in here that I'm not familiar with, that I'm having to underline, being like, what does this mean? So again, I don't know if that's the translation or something else. This was something kind of religious that I haven't heard about and thought was something kind of intriguing and want to do more research on, so I made note of this paragraph. What God had abandoned was the house, and the women who lived inside it, crammed in like roaches. He had forsaken them, like he had forsaken the infants born during the Passion, because while Christ's torment lasted, the shredded feet of the Messiah climbing Calvary Hill, his torn back carrying the cross, his long hair dripping sweat and blood, God just looked at his son. He loved only and cried only for the Lamb. He wasn't there for anyone else. And all the men and women born during the Passion were left with the bad part, haunted, neglected, forever disregarded, discounted, condemned, in things that are punished and never die. So that had me interested. What is all that about? I've never heard about that through all my years of Christian, teachings. I had never heard about that, so I thought that sounded kind of cool. And then we have, or not cool, but interesting, intriguing. I hadn't heard about it. Then we have the title of the book, so I only have to underline when that appears. And then we have The House Obeyed Too was a quote. And the two books that, if you like those books, and I think you should check out this book, would be Northwoods by, is it Daniel Mason? Yeah, Daniel Mason, because history is always there. Wherever we are, this bit of land that I'm on, so many people, animals, whatever, nature, weather has happened on this lot of land that I'm on, this lot of land that I'm on, and it will always remain because that's what shaped where we are. And there are a lot of places where, one place where I really felt history was Westminster Abbey in London. It was not an eerie feeling, but you can just feel that a lot has happened there, and it's been there 1,000 years, you know, and who knows what was on that piece of land before that. But there's a denseness to history, and kind of like the writing style, but history is what shapes who we are, where we are, what is happening in the world. It's always there. And then the other one would be 100 Years of Solitude. I think the writing style and the storytelling is very similar. There are just some kind of magical realism vibes here that I think are similar to Gabriel Garcia Marquez's writing style. So if you like that, I think you will like this. So those are my thoughts so far on I Gave You Eyes and You Look Towards Darkness. Well, my thoughts for today, and my thoughts about getting hate comments, because I don't feel hated. Like, they didn't hurt my feelings. But I wanted to just talk about how I handle those comments, because I know a lot of people are probably scared to post on social media because of what people might think of them or what people might say. And honestly, just be nice to them, and that's all you can do. All you can do is look out for yourself and treat people how you want to be treated. Hey guys, happy Tuesday. So I have only read like 30 some pages today because y'all know I was at the beach, and I definitely should have brought my book with me. I didn't read any of I Gave You Eyes and You Look Towards Darkness today. This is the only one that I'm not going to get to today, because we had to call like a locksmith, and he first said that he would be there in 45 minutes. He didn't get there in that time, so he called again and said, I'm running late. There was a delay at my last job. He said, I'll be there in 30 minutes. So like the whole wait time was like an hour and 25 minutes, and that whole time I could have been reading my book, but I did not bring my book with me. And look how small this is. This is a small little cute book about the size of my purse. So definitely always bring a book with you. Always do it, because I didn't, and I'm upset that I didn't get to read in there today, because y'all know I'm enjoying that. But I got to, this morning, I got to 75% in Appalachian Reckoning, and in King Nick's I just got to 29%, and I want to just go over some of my thoughts so far. So I'm going to tell you what's happening. So we have our characters, I always forget what their names are, because when it's first person I never know, but Annie or like he calls her Annie, but like Anna and Charles get to the island that Mr. Arkle owns. Mr. Arkle is the one who is funding his research and all of that. So they get there and they meet some of the other inhabitants. Now mind you, this is 1918 when this is taking place, which was when the Spanish flu was happening, so they have to quarantine before they can go up to the big house, you know. So they meet some of the other people who are also quarantining and are being funded by Mr. Arkle. Mr. Arkle, he has this money from, he owns like a canning company, like they do the cans for fruit, vegetables, that kind of thing. And I mean, y'all know, go to the grocery store, how many cans do you see? There's a ton. So there's probably a lot of money to be made in that, and especially back then I feel like that was probably kind of new. But they are talking with the other couple who is there, and really like going into the legend of Mr. Arkle and all the lore around him, and just all these different stories of like how his workers at the factory, they went on strike, and just the author is building up the legend of Mr. Arkle. And we also found out who King Nix is, what King Nix is. We get introduced to that for the first time in the chapter I just read, which was chapter 6. I read 23 pages in here, by the way. So that is what's happening in the book. Not like, we're at 29%. I honestly don't know what I would rate it, because it is just really slowly building up. So right now it's like in the 3-star vibe, but I do think that could change, because this is a mystery. This is a thriller. plot twists are bound to happen, you know. So characters, as I said, Annie or Anna is our POV character. And yeah, so, but especially with the chapters we got today, it's really going into her psyche and her mentality. I think that's going to be really fun. Could be an unreliable narrator that we're having here. I'm not sure yet. So, yeah, she's fine. I don't have any strong feelings towards her. Now, the atmosphere has definitely, I've really enjoyed that. It really, like, this feels like it was a book written back then, you know, like it feels like a classic because we have Frankenstein vibes for like the gothic vibes and just kind of crazy scientists, even though Charlie says he's not a scientist, but he's a crypto scientist is what they say, like the crazy scientist vibe. Also, it gives me Great Gatsby vibes because we're in New York, we're in the we're in 1918, so you know, getting close to the 1920s with a lot of money around us. We have like that elite, those elite people. Also, we're like building up the legend of this guy. Everybody's talking about Mr. Arkle, but we have not met Mr. Arkle, so it's like they're talking about Gatsby, but we haven't met Gatsby yet. So there are vibes to that. The writing, it's fine, like it's not bothering me one way or the other. And then plot, again, we're still pretty early on. I don't know where this is going to go, but the intrigue is definitely there. I'm really curious where this is going to go and just some of the places where this is going to go, because some of it just seems so out there and crazy, and it's like, is there something maybe on a different plane, a different dimension that's happening here? Which there's no fantasy or magical realism listed on Storygraph or anywhere, but you know, there's just kind of those vibes like maybe this isn't all that is here. Maybe there's something undercover. It's just going to be really intriguing to see where all of this goes, because I'm not even going to go into some of that because I'm just going to leave that for y'all to discover with your reading of some of my crazy crackpot theories that I'm having about this book. So yeah, I'm having a good time with it. As I said, 3-star vibes right now, but I do expect this to, you know, we're building. We're on the stepping stones. We're very early in to the story. Like, we just got introduced to King Nix. But that is all for today. I wish I had more for y'all, but I didn't read that much, so I'm gonna go take a shower. But yeah, after I dealt with all the locksmith, and there are people before that too of other things I had to do, but I went to the beach, y'all saw, and I ran out into the ocean, and it felt so good just being in my long skirt running out there, and the water was warm. It was very blue. Yeah, it felt good. It just felt so freeing, like letting stuff off my shoulders. It felt good, and I had a lot of fun just seeing the beauty of the ocean. Yeah, beautiful place. So that's all. The bed is not made because Wednesday's an off day and I had a migraine. But I want to show y'all like the fun stuff I got at Target. I still went to Target today because I'm good now. But I got this, had this as Game Day Social Club. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, and I think it will match my Bills stuff quite well for football season, and it's like a corduroy material. Then I got a book. This is a book I've been wanting. I saw it on Goodreads and I was shocked to see it at Target, and at first I wasn't sure if it was the same book because it's a different cover than is the one on Goodreads, so I guess this is the paperback cover, but it is, hold on, I have to open it because they covered up like half the title, but Eve, How the Female Body Drove 200 Million Years of Human Evolution by Kat Bohannon, and it says, from The Guardian, Bohannon calls on her astoundingly disciplinary range to tell this epic tale. She is bold when speaking against abortion restrictions, the gender wage gap, sex essentialism, and chastity laws. So a 21st century update on our bodies, ourselves. Eve offers a true shift in our thinking about what the female body is and why it matters. So, you know, some feminist literature here. I think it'll be interesting. But okay, and then a Tide to-go stick because, y'all know I've been eating grapes. That's why I just got done eating, and I had some mac and cheese with it too. But like, I'm getting grape juice all over me, and it's purple. And today it wouldn't matter because I'm wearing black, but on the other day I was wearing white, so I was getting grape stuff all over me. So we got one of these, and that's like the fun stuff that I got at Target today. Let's turn this way because I feel like it. So I read 50 pages and I gave you eyes and you look towards darkness. I'm in the last chapter, and then I will read the author's note as well. So just going over a few of the tabs, you know, that I have here today. The first being that these characters are like really campy. So this is listed as a horror to like, oh no, I haven't been scared. Now some of the points when I'm reading it out loud, I'm like, should I be reading this out loud? Is that okay? Is that safe? You will know if you give the book a go. But like campy characters, like all the women remind me of like the witches and Hocus Pocus. And it's like, but with this, it feels like they could turn creepy in a snap of a finger, that it could just get weird in a snap of a finger. It's fun. I'm liking the characters. I think they're characters. And this is just showing a connection of how we know the location has been what has been connecting the two stories here, but also we just had another connection made, so I made note of that and then drew out a little chart for myself. I'm not going to show it just in case of spoilers. And it's how we have like how I talked about like modern mixing, blurring the line between the present and the past. And I think it's kind of funny seeing like the historical people seeing modern day. So they say little mirror, and I think it means the phone, how like, you know, you can see since it's phone, but like, you know, you can see the reflection in there. And then like they're talking about like this one character's fingernails, so she has like fake nails on, were inordinately long and purple, so it alarmed another character that this character would want to be touched by those claws, when obviously it's fake nails. But back in the old days, I wonder when fake nails became a thing. I never thought about that before. And this one, again, another chart for me, and then a note because I am ending the day in the middle of a chapter, just because this chapter is very long, and I wanted to make a note of what had just happened and what I had read. So that's my update on I Gave You Eyes and You Look Towards Darkness. I know, very short update. But yeah, when you're, you know, in a gut of a book, like I'm at 76%, there's not much I can say. I would like to finish the book tomorrow. Hopefully I can do that, because I did not have intentions to take this long to read on a 159 page book. I would have liked to have read it much faster, but the next few books on my TBR, the next one is audio, then a graphic novel, and then the shortest book on my TBR. So we'll see. Hey guys, it's Thursday, and that means it's time to open the mail, even though only one of them isn't opened. So a lot of this was Amazon Prime Day stuff. This was just a random purchase. We'll start with the Ipsy bag. Again, I have not used any of the Ipsy products yet. I'm really bad. But I mean, I'm not paying for this. I do not know who's paying for this. Yeah, I don't know how to put an end to this or any of that. Because like, if I message them, will they ask me like the card info and all that? 'Cause I don't have that. I don't. But let's see what is in here. We have sunscreen, which you always need, and I live in a coastal area, so this definitely will have some use. But here's the little bag. It's like a fake leather, but like, that's really nice. I love these little bags because I travel and I need them. Okay, so we had, this is a green tea foam cleanser by Tony Moly. Also, I think I'm allergic to retinol, y'all. Every time. So I tried that vitamin C retinol that I got last week, that combines the two, or I tried it on Monday, and then just that night I was itchy all over. It was awful, and I think it's retinol. It's because when I cut out retinol is when I don't feel the itchiness. But apparently being allergic to it's really rare, so I don't know. But then we have, this looks like an eyeliner. Yeah, a gel eyeliner by Shades by Sean, S-H-A-N. And what was that? What was my phone trying to tell me? Target. Okay, that's not important. We had this. This is Curl Charisma, a hydrating and defining mask. So I'm assuming for hair. I'm assuming we have that. Then this looks like a lipstick. Turn Me On Soft Matte Lipstick. Look at this. This is so cute. I love lipstick bottles. Oh, and it's like a magnetic. That's super cool. And I've never seen one come in a little box like this. So Turn Me On by Beauty Creations, I'm assuming, and it's vegan and cruelty free. We love to see. Okay, and then this is just a little spoiler card for Hot Glow Summer. So that is what was in the Ipsy bag. I don't know what month this is from. I'm assuming July. I don't know when it got there. So then this is a wireless microphone. Oh, what's her name? It's not Melania, but it's like Milan something, who I follow on TikTok and really enjoy. But I saw this like microphone that she had on her, and I was like, that looks really cool. I want to look up one like that, because I think that will work really well for me. So for the TikTok I'm filming today, I'm going to be doing trying on clothes, so I can't really use it today, but this wireless microphone that I got on Amazon Prime Day. So I got this on sale. I got that. Then these, I wanted some Versace sunglasses for my birthday, but they only had them in a size large, and I am a size small. So, and I wanted just oval shaped sunglasses, could not find any, or like the one, then I like the MIU, you know that brand? They're $500. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So I was like, I'm not going to be able to see all these. I couldn't find any prescription ones that, yeah, that were my size, were affordable. So we're going to wear some cheap sunglasses for pictures. Because again, I can't really walk in these because I am blind pretty much. But these, like, I might look like the Three Blind Mice or like Stevie Wonder or something. Yeah, so I can't see in the viewfinder what I look like, but these are the sunglasses that I got on Amazon. Oh gosh, I just fogged up those, because see, that is, I cannot see, it's just bad. We're gonna put these back in there. And now we have books to look at, and that's probably why y'all are here, unless you're a creep and want to see me try on clothes, which does not happen. Okay, there's my dad going. Like, dude, I am in the middle of something, but it looks like I have to go get Delilah, so I will be back. I am back now. So we are at the book portion of the video. This one is One Shot by Betty Cayuette. This one is a romance, and I know the female character is a model, and it takes place in Italy, so both of those things were intriguing to me, because I do like reading about fictional famous people, and I don't know if she's like a supermodel or anything like that, but I don't remember the trope. So the ultimate second chance romance, and I've heard some pretty good things. They used to have it at Target, but like they didn't anymore, so I was able to pick it up on Prime Day. Next, this is one that I heard about on TikTok, and it is The Language of Blood by Jane Jeong Trinka. And this is about the woman who wrote the book and her sister Carol. They were adopted by Frederick and Margaret Brower and raised in a small Minnesota town, a place where the sky touches the earth, an uninterrupted horizon, where stoicism is stamped into the bones of each generation. They were loved as American children without a past. So I think that the writer is going, as a memoir, the writer is going back to South Korea to find her roots there and to find her biological family. So we got that one. And then this is one that is a book I remember from childhood, and I don't remember if I saw it at Books A Million or Goodwill. It's probably Books A Million, because I feel like I would have bought it at Goodwill. But Cozy by Jan Barrett, and I just, again, these illustrations are so cozy. I love northern Arctic settings like that. It just feels so magical to me, so I bought it for Prime Day. Now this one is, you know, probably like a self-published book, and I learned about this one on YouTube. It actually might have come out way back then, way back in the you know, long time ago. I'm not sure, but yeah, 1700 it looks like. And there's this YouTube channel here that does like videos of what colonial America would have been like what food they were eating, like just what life was like. And this is a book that he used for research, and it's A New Voyage to Carolina by John Lawson. So seeing what it was like here in the 1700s. I think I probably had some family in the Carolinas then, but like my family, that's my last name, didn't come here till after the Civil War. So a little bit later, they were in the Carolinas, but not in South Carolina, which I think this is mainly focusing on. But I got that. And then the last thing is another, this is translated from Kazakhstan. It is The Dead Wonder in the Desert by Roland Bayev, translated by John Farden and Olga Nakstan. I've never seen one with two translators, so that's interesting. So this says, from Kazakhstan's most celebrated author comes this powerful and timely English language debut about a fisherman's struggle to save the Aral, A-R-A-L-C, and its way of life and from man-made ecological disaster. So I don't know if this is fiction or non-fiction. I thought it was non-fiction, but it's looking like, I can't tell, but that's everything I got in the mail this week. I'm going to go do my fashion videos because I have all these clothes I got last week, and yeah, I was at the hotel, so I didn't have, I didn't film them, so I'm going to film them now. It's funny, in last week's video, I hauled clothes and I hauled random things, but no books, when this week it's, we had kind of a variety of pieces today, but it was mainly books. Just finished, I gave you eyes and you look towards darkness, so we're going to go through a call pal together to find out what I am going to rate this book. So we only start with characters, that's what the C in call pal stands for, and characters I'm going to give a 4. I know I talked about this in the vlog already, but they're very campy. They are quirky, but not in a cringy way. I actually found them quite comedic. That they are comedic. As we're seeing them through all their forms and stages of life, pretty much for all of them. Joanna was my favorite, but they are, as I said, comedic, but they also have depth to them. They all had their struggles physically, mentally. They've all been through some stuff. But as I said, they do feel comedic, but it also feels like they could snap at any minute and this could turn bad. Because as I told y'all, this is a horror book, so you do need to be aware that things might not be as they seem. Things could go crazy, and I overall just enjoyed the characters, and I never knew what I was going to get out of them, and I like that a lot. Now let's go to the atmosphere. The atmosphere was my favorite part, and I am going to give that a 5-star. This is Catalonia. Is that how you say it? Catalan is the language. So it reads like a folktale. The tone of the book it feels like you're in a village, let's say 300 years ago, and you're all sitting around a fire, and this old lady is telling you the tales of this town and of its inhabitants and these people, with some mystical undertones and all, because it is a horror. And that was just, I love that. I love the way that this story was told, the tone, the atmosphere. It is historic, but you never really, it feels like an old story. This feels ancient, even though it was published, in English this year. And that it feels like this could have been told, again, 200 years, 200, 300, even longer than that years ago. And it just feels folkloric, fairy tale-esque. And I talk about kind of going into the writing style, that it kind of reads like Dr. Seuss, and I'm saying that as a compliment, just how lyrical and poetic it is. I really did like that. So with the writing is very hard. I'm going to give writing a 3. It is very lengthy and detailed writing, but since the book is so short, it's less than 200 pages, that writing doesn't bog you down. And it's just kind of fun to read it out loud. And it's definitely an acquired taste. But once you find out how it all works, it's like a light bulb moment. It's like, man, this is awesome how a writer could do that. So I don't think it was poorly written, but it's not my go-to favorite writing style, and I did kind of struggle at times with it, but I don't think it was poorly written at all. Okay, so for plot, with these books, these are fever dream kind of books. These are weird girl books, and when I'm like, what makes a book a weird girl book? If bodily fluids are mentioned, bodily habits are mentioned in detail, that's a weird girl book. No. But it is a weird girl book. It's a fever dream-esque book. So I really think if you're a fan of Mona Awad, then and Otesha Moshfegh, I think you would like this. And then Northwoods, because it's history blurring lines, which we're going to get into. 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. It's so much. It reminds me so much. The town and that I am not remembering the name really reminds me of Masclavaux, which is like the house where these women live. That it's so reminiscent. The settings are reminiscent of each other. But with what I think the overall theme here is, again, how the back of the book says, it's a novel in which the line between the dead and the living, past, present, story, and history are blurred. And she draws on oral tradition to tell this story, and I didn't read like any of that before I started the book, and I'm just like, yeah, she hit the nail on the head. If that was like her goal, and that's the kind of story she was looking to tell, she hit the nail on the head. So I do think that is the main theme here, is how everything is just so close, how their life is really just a bunch of blurred lines. Okay, and other themes I picked up on here is motherhood, and that is a huge theme here of being a mother. Religion, and the words of the Pussycat Dolls, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it, like that. That's a huge theme of just being careful about that, and being careful with the religion and curses and all that. That's something just you need. It's a very strong and powerful thing, and you have to be careful with it. So we are going to give the plot a 4. Intrigue, 3, because I never really knew where this book was going to go, but it's not like I was on the edge of my seat or anything. And logic is where I only struggle with, like, things like horror, with fantasy, you know. I am always like, what do I do that? So we will do a 3. And then enjoyment, I am going to do a 4 because I did enjoy this book and I would recommend it. And I do think When I Sing Mountains Dance by the same author is a better book, but this was just, it's so weird reading it, and I'm like, where is Irene Sola going to go? But we need to do the math to find out what star rating I am going to give the book. So we have a 4 plus 5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, which is 26. Divide that by 7, and we're getting ourselves with a 3.71, so that will be going in as a 3.75, and you know, in the rating system. But yeah, so this was a pretty good book, and I would recommend that you pick it up, but I do think it is an acquired taste, and it's not going to be for everybody, but I gave y'all recommendations. If you like these, and you might like this. So that is all for that book. I will be starting a new book in about an hour at 6, and at 6 or like 5:55, I'll come back and tell y'all what that book's about. It is a reread, but you know, y'all might have not been subscribed a year ago, so you're not going to know about it, but I'll see y'all then. I'm a little late, sorry about that, but The Everlasting by Katie Simpson Smith is the next book that I'm going to read. As I said, this is a reread, and I do think it's going to be better on reread than it was the first time, because now I just have a better understanding of the Roman Empire, how it came to be, and just on Rome, and on some of these historical periods in general, and I am more into Rome than I was when I read it. I thought I was into Rome back then, but then I watched the HBO show, and it got me into it. Oh, why did I take that off when I'm going to read y'all the description? So spanning 2,000 years, The Everlasting follows 4 characters whose struggles resonate across the centuries. An early Christian child martyr, a medieval monk on crypt duty in a church, a Medici princess of Moorish descent, and a contemporary field biologist conducting an illicit affair. Outsiders to a city dense with history, this quartet, separated by time, grapples with the physicality of bodies, the necessity for sacrifice, and the power of love to sustain and challenge faith. Their small rebellions are witnessed and provoked by an omniscient time-traveling Satan who, though incorporeal, nonetheless suffers from a heart in search of repair. As their dramas unfold amid the brick, marble, and ghost of Rome, each must decide what it means to be good. 12-year-old Prisca defiles the scrolls of her father's library. Felix, the holy man who watches his friend's body decay and is reminded of the first boy he loved passionately. Giulia de Medici, a dark beauty with limitless wealth, wants to deliver herself from her unborn child. Tom, an American biologist studying the lives of the smallest creatures, cannot pinpoint when his own marriage began to die. As these conflicted people struggle with forces they cannot control, their circumstances raise profound and timeless questions at the heart of faith. What is our duty to each other, and what will God forgive? I'm going to tell you, God forgives everything if you let him in to your heart. No. But something interesting, both books, so the one we just finished on this one has Satan involved. Now with the Irene Solo one, because that name is so long and I keep getting confused with their other one, I'm like, was that really with Satan actually there? Like, I cannot wait to read reviews for that book. But I am going to be doing the audiobook for this, because when I originally read it, I read it physically, and sometimes, like, when I reread a book, I like to read it in a different format, just seeing what that experience will be. And it's a multicast one, where each POV has a different person narrating, so I think that's going to be kind of cool. Not a lot of people have reviewed the audiobook, so, I mean, hopefully it is actually good. Who's it published by? Harper, so, I mean, big publishing house there. But I'm going to be starting this now, and I definitely just screwed up my back doing that. But yeah, we're gonna read. All right, I read 11%, which was 39 pages in like the first chapter. And this, we were with our American biologist, and I'm like, do we ever like get his name? I don't think we do, but just why he's in Rome, the issues he's having in his life with physically and with his relationship and being a parent. He's questioning a lot of things, probably having a midlife crisis. I don't know if that said he's having a midlife crisis, but that's what it seems like. But we are going to go through my notes. And again, I have read this book before, so a year ago in April of 2024. And if I repeat any of the thoughts I had back then, I'm sorry. But I did look at my review, and it seems like my biggest issue back then was with the writing of the book. And that's why, one of the reasons why I switched to doing an audiobook this time around, because sometimes that writing, it was dense when I was reading it. There's a lot of info being taken in, especially like this chapter where it's with science and ostracods, I think is what they're called. We'll get into what that is. But I didn't know all about that kind of stuff, and so that can be a lot for somebody to take in. So that seemed to be like my biggest issue. And then the dialogue being, I thought it was boring, like flat. So that seemed to be my biggest issue a year ago. And then my favorite thing was the like plot itself, the themes and ideas. But let's go to the notes. The first one being that's something, as I said, I'm doing the audiobook, and that the parts that are Satan are narrated by a woman, which I thought was intriguing. I don't know if that's ever like revealed in the book that Satan is a woman. I have never really seen that take before, and that's really making the parts of Satan like really like introspective, making me think, being like, oh, could there be something more to this book that I didn't pick up the first time? We will have to see. But as I was talking about ostracods, so ostracods are organisms that the human eye cannot see unless you have like a microscope, you know. They are things that are just like minuscule organisms. I don't know their purpose of why they're here or anything like that, but those things are so ancient. A lot of people who believe in like evolution, or if there's life on other planets, it starts with those little organisms and, you know, evolve into other things, you know, humans or whatever you want to believe. So that is what an ostracod is, and that is what he is researching in Rome. He just applied to, you know, different jobs, and the Roman one is the one that accepted him. But I think it's interesting because the ostracods, they could be up to 5 million years of age, or they could be brand new. So I think if we're going with that ancient, and our modern plot line in this book, which is in 2015, is investigating the most ancient thing in this story. I just think that is kind of like poetic, I guess. But with the ostracods, it says they would continue morphing at glacial pace long past the time when the last person who could interpret his scribbling had turned to dust. And that's what I was saying, like how they could be 5 million years old. They've been evolving that long. So if that is what humans came from, not saying I believe that, I really don't know, but how many millions of years did it take for that to happen? And these ones that are little organisms right now, what are they gonna become? It's a lot to think about, let me tell you. So let's go to our next tab here, which is a yellow tab. This is just something in history where I was like, oh, I haven't heard about that. Queen Christina of Sweden set off without aiming a cannon, so, you know, on top of Hadrian's tomb, mind you. What is aiming if not a form of misogyny? Blasting a hole in the Villa Medici, her belly laugh sending waves across the Tiber. So the Medici Villa or Villa Medici is something that I am kind of interested in because, you know, Sybil is one of my favorite, like, Roman. She really came from Anatolia, but was brought to Rome as a goddess, and she's like an earth mother goddess. No, you can't see my Venus figure and Circe over there, but she where the temple in Rome would have been for the Magna Marta, which is the Roman version of the name, would have been where the Medici Villa was. Now, Sybil was worshipped in Rome by a piece of a meteorite. During the Punic Wars, that piece of meteor was brought from Anatolia to Rome, came up the Tiber from Ostia, and was put at the temple I just told y'all. Now, nobody knows where that meteorite is now. I think the Medici probably know. I don't know. This is just, you know, my crackpot theories. So I'm always intrigued by the Medici Villa just because Sybil is, I don't know if she's my favorite goddess, but, you know, she is one that I'm extremely fascinated by. I find extremely interesting, and we're probably going to get more into that at the end of the month. So since that was just in the same location, that's why I made note of that. Okay, where's my next one? Yeah, this book has deckled edges, and those books are always kind of hard to annotate because the pages are different lengths. Like outside wise, widths I guess would be the right word. But yes, for trigger warnings, I do want to tell y'all, health anxiety is a major one because I'm somebody with health anxiety, and just seeing this character obviously has it, and then that's might get your thoughts going, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like can we get through this? Can we get through this? So I do want to give y'all that. And then there's kind of a self-harming scene. So those are 2 trigger warnings so far in the first chapter. And now I'm like, so this man is thinking of having an affair. He meets a girl at the Geniculum, I think is how you say it, Geniculum. And so that's what they call her, Geniculum girl. And I'm like, what if she is Satan? Or is she just a normal girl? I don't know. But now that the Satan woman perspective, that has me just questioning things. I'm like, I don't remember this from my first time around, so it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. Also, y'all know I'm reading King Next. One of the audiobook narrators in this audiobook is also doing that one. I am blanking on her name, but she did the Henrietta Lacks one. And I'm like, hopefully this doesn't get confusing. I think she's going to be the Medici princess, but we will just have to see. Yeah, I would say that would make sense, because the other one's a child character. But I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go. There are my thoughts on that. So let's go through the weekly wrap-up. I have not read over 100 pages this week. Again, I'm only reading 4 books, when in past weeks I was reading 5 books. Was last week when we finished having 5 books? No. Yeah, the highest reading day was yesterday. I read 94 pages. I think today I could get over that, but we'll just have to see. I upheld several books, but in July I don't really keep track of that because it's my birthday month. I treat myself. Now, what is going to be happening in next week's vlog? It's going to be our reset. Why did the reset vlogs always fall when they do? So we're going to be attempting to do a reset, but in July it is just kind of wonky on how we do it because my video schedule is slightly different. The way I haul books is different in July. I don't limit myself to anything in July, so that's why it's just going to be kind of tricky. And next week's vlog is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be kind of exciting. We're going to be doing things we haven't done before. I'm not going to say what because I don't like to jinx things. So yeah, y'all are going to get some new content. So hopefully you enjoy it, but it will be a reset. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way through, leave a blue emoji in the comments below. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!